Our last lesson is our longest lesson, but it goes into working with the media, what to say, how to prepare, what to wear, what they might be looking for. So, most of the time, our interviews with media will be local media, media here in Lubbock and the surrounding area. Usually, our local media are very young. They're right out of college, so 22 to 25 years old. They're very approachable. A lot of times, they ask for an interview that day. They're usually working on a pretty tight deadline. They may not be familiar with agriculture or science, or maybe just not agricultural science. So things maybe need to be explained a little bit better, maybe more in depth. If the reporter calls you, ask when the deadline is. They'll usually want to come to you and meet on campus or in your lab. They'll work with your schedule as much as they can. The news starts at 5, 6, and 10 every day, so know that they'll need some time to get that information processed, to edit their videos, to write their stories. So they'll need a little bit of time to work with that. If they do call you, contact Mary Menning or the university's Office of Communications and Marketing. We're not going to control what you say, but we just want to know about it so we know to be expecting that type of thing. But don't wait on us. You don't need our permission to speak on camera. If a reporter calls you, ask them, what type of questions are you going to ask me? This way you can be prepared. If you only have 15 minutes, give them 15 minutes. They'll work with your schedule. Offer us a comment of some sort if you can and if you're comfortable doing so. And just offer to help them because somebody else will. And sometimes it might be somebody that's not that may not be the expert on the subject. And I had a situation like this where somebody called and wanted me to do an interview. It was some story about corn or soybeans, and I'm like, I am not the right person. Oh, well, you know about agriculture, and I'm like, no, I am not an expert on corn or soybeans or whatever the story was. And so, I tried to find them an expert at Texas Tech, and for whatever that story was, we did not have anybody on that day that was able to comment on that story, and we turned the interview down. But we helped them find somebody at an institution that we knew would be a good expert on the subject and knew what they were talking about. So sometimes we do have to decline an interview request, but we can help them connect with somebody that is a good expert on the subject. And if you're nice to a reporter, when another story comes back around, they'll remember that you were friendly to them and come back and say, hey, would you like to do an interview on this subject? And hopefully it'll be something that you have some expertise in. And on that topic, if media interviews scare you, please know that you are not required to do this. If this makes you uncomfortable, if it scares you, if you would rather not, you don't have to. But help us help the reporter find a qualified spokesperson. We don't want to make you uncomfortable at all, but we do want to find the reporter. We want to help the reporter find a good person that's qualified to speak on behalf of agriculture and science. So help us help them. However, if you do agree to do an interview, develop your talking points and stick with them. Know what you want to say. Again, ask the reporter, please let me know what you're going to ask me, and that way I can be prepared. Practice with somebody that you trust. And again, that's where Mary or somebody in communications and marketing, or even me, one of us can help you practice and be prepared for that interview. Be credible, be positive. If you don't know the answer, don't speculate. Just say, I don't know, but let me look that up and I'll get back with you. There's no such thing as off the record when you're speaking with the media. If it's a big topic or a big news outlet, do please contact the Office of Communications and Marketing. And again, just let us know if you're doing these interviews. Preparing the location. Especially if it's on camera, find a location that's low noise, low traffic, has a clean background. Usually not your office, just because of lighting and background distractions and things like that. A lot of times outside, that way, our campus is really pretty. And so that usually makes a nice backdrop for an on-camera interview. If you're in an office or a lab, they may ask to rearrange some things. And sometimes people in labs, they don't want their stuff touched. So that's okay. Go outside. They may need some electricity to set up lights, depending on the day. So if you can find a spot with some electricity that they can run an extension cord, that helps. They may need some B-roll or some cover video. So helping them shoot that would be really nice. Helping them find something or having even photos is helpful to them, and just be willing to show them around and be willing to help, because they remember when people are nice to them and they'll come back to us. If you are doing an on-camera interview, clean, solid colors is great. Logo wear if you can. So here, Dr. Brooks, he had on a double T, and that showed up on television, and it looked great. Comb your hair. If you must wear a cap, make sure it's a clean one. But a lot of times they'll ask you to take your cap off because it can shade your eyes, and it doesn't. It looks like you don't have any eyes. Ladies, a little bit of blush and lipstick just looks good on camera. Avoiding white and busy patterns and sunglasses usually looks better on camera also. And then relax. Keep your hands at your sides. Stand still. Don't rock or sway. And that's another reason why a lot of times reporters don't like to keep people in their offices. Is most people have swivel chairs in their offices, and they will tend to swivel in their chairs. So getting them outside prevents them from swiveling in their chairs. Look at the reporter. Speak up and speak in complete sentences. Some other tips: don't be bullied into an interview. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. Call marketing communications if you get a request and you don't feel qualified or don't want to do it. Help the reporter understand the story. And then at the end of the day, if they did a good job, send them an email and let them know that they did a good job. And know that generally the media is not here to trap you, especially local media. They're here to do their story and then move on the next day to the next story of the day. You can always re-say something. These interviews are recorded, so you can say, can I say that a different way? I'd rather say that differently. And most of the reporters are very nice, and they'll let you restate something. And know that they're going to do a story. They will find a source for their story. So we would like for them to find an expert here at Texas Tech that is a good source for agricultural sciences and natural resources. And you can do this. We can help you. Send us story ideas and let us know when a larger story is brewing, because everything we're doing is trying to enhance the reputation of Texas Tech and the Davis College.